Hello and welcome to Meet Your Inspiration podcast with Meri and Rich. Here we're talking about inspiration, motivation and empowerment. Our guests are ordinary people who became extraordinary, and with sharing their stories we want to empower you to become the person you want to be.
This morning I would love to welcome Claire Snoad. Claire is from Faversham. She's part of the choir. She runs a musicals production company, and she's just an extraordinary talent and an amazing singer. So welcome, Claire. Lovely to have you with us this morning to share your journey.
How are you today?
I'm good, thank you.
Thank you very much. Oh yes, we love your voice. We heard your voice. I like to mention a few things. You remember how we met?
We did, yes. You jumped to one of my shows and just jumped me.
That was mega cool when we were
like, I love you. And I'm like, okay, lovely.
Yes, and that was, I think, first time I saw you at Rebecca's house.
Yes,
when we went for that. It was super funny because we were going for Rebecca's book reading.
Yeah.
And I was just in my usual mode, like, oh, go, come on, because I didn't know who will be there, whatever. And you've been dropped.
Yeah.
And because we were wearing pink.
Yes.
And you were like, are you going to the same place? Yes, I do.
Yeah,
and I remember we walked together, but honestly, it was awesome. And yeah, after that, you sung, and this is it.
It's a cameo that she asked me to do, because there was a song I've been doing in another play, and Naomi had written about it or something, and Rebecca was like, "Oh, you've got to come and sing this at my event. It really it's really about that." And I was like, "Oh, okay, great." No worries. Felt terrible because Naomi was obviously the entertainment.
Yeah, but
she was
anyway,
like, "No, just come on in."
You two are anyway a team.
We
so...
are, yeah. To be fair, you don't get one often without the other. So.
And it works so well.
Yeah, she's my literal right arm a lot of the time.
Take us back in the time and tell us a little bit more about Claire. Let's say after secondary school, what's happened with
How
Claire?
did you even get to singing?
I got into singing really young. Growing up, watched Oliver and Annie on my VHS tape. It was a double-sided tape. So I was really into music and singing. I can't even remember a time when I wasn't singing, to be fair. It's always been something in the back of my mind. One of my teachers used to listen to Angela Weber songs, and teaches Angela Weber songs in a sort of after-school music drama club. It's always been there. So Joseph and things. That's junior. So junior, primary school. Mr. Henderson, very very cool teacher. And he used to write shows, and we used to do shows with him even at primary school age. Always been into theatre, and then so that sort of took me through, and I did all the local pantomimes, and we did Wizard of Oz, so we'll bring that to that later. But so I did lots of different shows, all about Annie, Wizard of Oz, Aladdin, and then sort of got up into secondary school and thought, oh, I'm going to become an accountant. Because I wanted to make lots of money.
Good reason.
Surprisingly, not as much money in theatre. But then, so I was at that kind of 16 point, trying to decide which kind of direction I was going in, and was sort of like, I'll do maths. But I'll keep performing arts as well, because I love doing performing arts. Got cast in lead in my secondary school show, which was We Were Rock You. So I was like, right, well, I'm just going to go off and do musical theatre at university. So auditioned for a bunch of places and got into Buckinghamshire University, and did a very bad 3-year degree with them. Unfortunately, wasn't anything like I wanted it to be. Wasn't my cup of tea at all. So left there with a degree and a lot of skills from that, but not in a very good headspace. So actually, quite a very bad depression headspace.
Is that because of what you studied?
Yeah, because of the course. It was very uneven. The people who auditioned me by the time I got there had been made redundant. So it was a whole, and then after our first year, I think the funding got cut for something or other. So when we came back in our second year, half the teachers again were gone. And I know some of the sued to get the money back at some point, because it was just it was just very, very uneven. And now obviously being in my 30s, I sort of look back and I go, oh, okay, so that wasn't the right, I needed more stability than that. And yeah, just found it really hard to kind of connect with people. I was quite socially anxious, still am actually. It's a big story that no one realises. I'm incredibly shy in a very extroverted manner. But yeah, so I just really struggled with university. I didn't enjoy it. I'm glad I went because everything's a life experience. But no, it wasn't the right one for me at all. But it got me my little piece of paper that says I've got a degree. So all kind of positive, and I made some really lovely friends who I do still see and stuff. So that was really nice. Some good positives. There was some good positives. Just a bit of a tricky 3 years.
So what happened next?
So I came home and wanted to get into theatre. So I did audition for a few things after I left uni, but wasn't getting very far. And the problem was I wasn't a well Claire at that point. I was very, very poorly with anxiety and sort of depression, but definitely anxiety. And this is when Naomi comes in, really, because I had lost a lot of my voice. So I was really poorly, and I was having trouble sort of with anxiety, and then that was affecting my throat and my singing voice. So I could hit my top and my bottom, and I had nothing in the middle. So I would go to sing, and nothing would come out, and it was horrendous because obviously somebody is their voice is so important. So I was going back to doctors and all this stuff, and no one could work out what it was. They kept saying to me, "Are you stressed? Are you anxious about anything?" And I'm like, no, I just want to know what's going on. And eventually somebody at my job had pulled me aside and gone, I think you might actually be quite stressed. And I finally admitted it, and she was like, right. And it was like a light bulb. It's acknowledging it and bringing it out and going, this is it. It made everything much better. So, but one thing that I was doing with Naomi was I was having lessons with her because I couldn't get my voice to work. So I became, I think she says I'm like one of her first students, and technically an alumni of the school, which I was like, oh. So I had to have, I was having these lessons with her, and I credit her completely with rebuilding my voice up, because it just wasn't a very healthy voice, unfortunately. Again, the training at the university had been so catastrophic, I would say. Don't get sued. But yeah, it wasn't great. So I lost a lot of my natural ability to sing. I've always been able to hold it. I had lessons from about age 16, but really I kind of just experienced growing and building it up. I used to be able to belt, for England, I used to say, I could belt and hold a note and hit over the notes and stuff. But I kind of been told to repress most of that, and then the training just.
So was it through exercise? How did you change your voice?
Yeah, just
exercise.
Like mostly reassurance was a big one, because the voice was still there. She was saying that there wasn't. I remember at the time we couldn't find a sort of physical reason apart from the sort of stomach acid and the acid burning my throat and stuff, where I was obviously so anxious. I kind of would say it was kind of like where I was so stressed in my stomach. And even now, if I sort of know when I'm starting to get really, really stressed out, I'm very aware of the effect that will have on my voice, and how important it is to really try and keep it nice and chilled. So it was mostly just built up over time, and just building it back up and back up and back up. It's funny because people always ask me how I met Naomi, and we actually don't know. We just have always kind of known each other, it feels like. But I think we kind of credit that back to kind of where our friendship really developed, because obviously she was spending every.
Did she see you singing somewhere, or?
Yeah, so we did a show. So a very good friend of mine, Vicky, put a show on when she was Miss Faversham. So I did a lot of carnival stuff growing up. So she put on a fundraising concert, which I can't remember the name of, something like Stars, I think. And Naomi co-produced it, or co-did it with her. So I knew Naomi from that, but again, not sort of very well. So I sort of knew her as Vicky's friend, And then I knew her as Vicky's friend who went to Guildford School of Acting and Drama. And I was like, wow, she's amazing. Still do that. And so in my first year of uni, I've never been a dancer. I mean, badly. But I needed help with dance. I was really struggling to keep up with any of the people at uni. And so we had a couple of lessons in the summer holidays, and again got to know each other a little bit well through that, and things like that with that. And then obviously when I got home, I was like, well, I need to keep up the training. So sort of Naomi, and then obviously she helped me with all the vocal stuff that I was having problems with. And it's kind of just gone from there. So then what I decided to do, so I was still doing little bits of theatre and drama and stuff. Went to work for a hotel chain, so that did kind of pull it back a little bit. I stopped going to auditions, which is a real shame in London, which I kind of pursued that a little bit more, which I've had that confidence to kind of go for it. Never say never. So I did that. And then so I'm still doing, as I say, the odd thing around the town, anything, any pantos, things like that. Kept doing that at uni. So then I got to sort of the production side of it, which in 2017, unfortunately, we lost a very, very close family friend to pancreatic cancer. Very sudden, very unfair. Lovely lady. And I know we were all feeling completely helpless. We just, it's such a horrible cancer. It takes people away so quickly and so poorly. And I thought, well, I want to do something. I don't know what to do. And I thought, well, let's put a variety night on. So I decided to do, we called it Music and Joy, because it was Cheryl, it was her middle name was Joy. And we were like, and that's what we want. We don't want a really sad night. We want a night of everything. And obviously growing up in the town and with people, I knew so many performers, so many actors, singers, dancers, magicians, everything. So I just called in everyone I could think of and said, I want to do this fundraising night. If we make a couple £100, brilliant. And just do this evening of fun and a memorial, but also a nice evening. And we raise a bit of money for pancreatic cancer. So that went incredibly well and raised over £1,000 on the night, which was insane. It was very sad at places, obviously, but it was amazing. And amazing how many people just gave their time, they came and helped, and we were building sets and drawing things on the walls and stuff.
Because that was before the choir started.
That was because that was back in, I'd say that was in 2017, that was. So it was May the 19th, 2017, that was it. So then I thought, well, I enjoyed doing that. I'll do another one in November. And we did a movies themed evening. I was like, we'll do something with the films, and do movies. I think I shall not share the posters because it's horrendous from last time. And me and Word were friends. So I thought we'll do so we're doing yet another evening, and we'll do some friends, all sort of movies, and so I did My Heart Will Go On from Titanic and things like that. And again, I chose to do that one as a fundraiser for the Art and Theatre. I've done lots of stuff for the Art and Theatre growing up. That went fairly well, and I thought, okay, well, yeah, that was fun. I enjoyed doing that. I said, but my dream is to get a musical theatre cabaret and do a night of just everything musical theatre. So that's what I grew up in. That's my passion. So I did The Sound of Musicals was born. Not as a company, not as anything, just again a nice little fundraiser again for pancreatic cancer. And so that then continued. So I did one for pancreatic cancer, one for the Arden, and then another one for pancreatic cancer. And then I was like, gosh, that's 5 in essentially a row. My niece is being born in October 19, this was. And I thought, better take a bit of a break, because I'm sure that whatever night I put the show on, my niece will be born on it. I was like, I'm absolutely convinced. I was like, that is how it happened. So I thought, well, that's okay. We'll pin it for a little while. I'll take a 6-month break. Now that brings us to March 2020 and COVID. So nothing happened for 2 years, essentially 18 months, 2 years. So my 6 month break turned into a 2 year break. But you know, I'm into theatre. We weren't going to be pushed and ignored in that time. So we were like, right, well, let's keep up with singing. Naomi moved everything online. So even the singing lessons, they went online. Even things like her little concerts, they went online. Soirees, which are now getting bigger and better. But we're all online. And I think Facebook and singers really came into their own during COVID. I mean, the amount of
I found quite a lot of artists, different,
so
which
much stuff,
very unknown names, but they were all around. And it was beautiful
well,
because they were doing amazing stuff.
The guy that was on, he was on Eurovision Man a few years back, did Spaceman, Rocketman, Spaceman. He was a Facebook guy, yeah. So when I saw him online, I was like, seen you somewhere, and I realised it's because he was doing all these brilliant TikTok or some of these videos, singing all these ridiculously high notes and stuff, and so I was like, I've seen you somewhere before, he still sit there going. So that was kind of I started doing videos. I mean, I used to use apps and stuff, and just kept singing the whole time. It was my way of kind of coping with the lack of control that COVID brought us. I mean, I was very, very lucky. I was furloughed from my job. And I worked in hospitality, so there was no job to go, there was nothing. We weren't allowed to open. We were the first ones to shut and the last ones to open. So I'm probably one of the only people that really enjoyed the first lockdown because it really taught me a lot about me and what I wanted actually. In terms of, I worked as a receptionist. It was incredibly stressful. Not a good job. Loved the people, hated the job.
Escape to luxury at Hempstead House Hotel and Spa, an elegant country house hotel in Bapchild, near Sittingbourne, Kent. Relax with indulgent spa treatments. Dine in style with exquisite cuisine. Perfect for getaways, weddings and events. Experience luxury in the heart of Kent. Book your stay today.
Be the first to discover Kent's best events all in one free app. What's On in Kent is a new and rapidly growing app where you can find days out information, places to eat, festivals, concerts, markets, and much more around you. Just with few clicks on your phone or computer, you can stay updated with real-time info and explore events across Kent. Don't even think twice. Just download. It's free.
Funny experience because I now recoil if I see their name, but they're actually, all the others are beautiful. If you've ever been to a Champneys, they are stunning, right? Yeah. The other ones. And I went to all bar one of them, so it's very nice and stuff. But just I think again, one or two people can kind of ruin a.
Yeah, but it's always everywhere. It's
like that. Leading from the top, as it were. I think when I tried to express the thing that really made me really like I don't want to work here anymore was when I tried to go to the manager and go like we're all really struggling, and he was like, and I was like, no, I'm telling you, we are all really struggling. I said this was right after COVID. Everything was different, the rules kept changing hourly, let alone, daily. And it was very stressful. And I think because we'd all chilled out for me, and someone did say to us about a lot of things happened in hospitality afterwards because people had got used to not being so stressed with COVID, a lot of us, I was going walking every day. It was lovely. And then you suddenly have to go in and your blood pressure is like 50 million high, because somebody's screaming at you because they haven't got a bathrobe, and you sort of sit there and go, really? The last 2 years taught you nothing? That really?
Oh, trust me, the world forgets a lot about it.
Amazing.
You remember during COVID all these things, the world is taking a little bit of pause, we are changing. Unfortunately, very quickly everything was forgotten, and it's back to. I mean, I like that it's back to the normal life, and we can sit out here and have all this chat.
There's no screens in our way.
Yeah, because I was really missing the personal. I did to see the people. Yes, I really. This was for me very. I was for me, it was still a blessing that I was still working. But it was weird company that usually is so busy. So you feel a bit like you're on your own. But still, you can see someone in the corridors or somewhere far down. But definitely, unfortunately, didn't teach us a lot. We didn't learn a lot about from.
It doesn't seem always like
we easily forget, don't we? That's the thing.
I think we do. I think we take for granted kind of the, even down to my niece. My niece was born in the October of 19, so there was good 6, 7, 8 months where we couldn't actually be even a cuddle, and actually I remember that being incredibly difficult. And I do think that social media and that really came into its own, Zoom, particularly really came into its own, and things like that, because we were able to have,
at least you see the people.
You can still see the people, and I think
actually
it's meant lots of jobs remote. I'm not complaining about that. I work remotely.
Absolutely. And
you still do that now?
I do, work remotely. So,
but that's quite. I think they were quite.
Yeah.
So
I do 1 or 2 days in the office, and the rest.
But they were quite positive things as well. I think people became much more creative as well.
Oh, massively.
And
massively.
I really love with some of my friends. We were doing quizzes. We had one of them
quizzes,
was always doing quizzes. And I mean, all my life we never done it, and they were living. Some Bedford, someone London, someone Bulgaria. No. My friends from Bulgaria. But honestly, it was absolutely awesome. I loved
how structured my week got. Even down to sort of meals. Me and my dad used to do the a schedule of what we'd have for the week, and so Tuesday night was clapping. Then it was. Did clap carers, and then there was a gentleman called Jay who's now, huge on sort of YouTube and stuff. Jay's virtual quiz. Okay. So he,
and as well the guy that was doing the forgot the name.
So Jay's virtual pub quiz. That's it.
No, that's about the activities.
I think he's kept it going. It's amazing, but. Yeah, so that was our
Joe Weeks as well. That was mega cool to do the exercise.
But so that was our Thursday and our Saturday evenings. And then there was a few other local companies doing it, like Clever Dilemma were used to own the escape room. They did a quiz every couple of weeks, and it kind of had sort of very good structure.
Exactly.
Once a week, went to the supermarket, highlight of the week. Mum got very frustrated. I was like, no, you're not allowed to go out. I've got a better immune system. I'll go. I'll risk my life for the happening. But it was very, very structured and enjoyable. That's why it's.
And how, again, you became on track with the music?
So again, the company, it wasn't a company, as I say, by then. It was kind of just a side thing that I was doing, and I kept doing them for charity and things like that.
Can I just ask you and interrupt you here about when you start doing it and you had this passion and idea to start doing it, did you had any clue how to organize an event, what you're going to do? Did you ask for help? That anyone was
massively
because to organize something like what you were doing, it's not an easy thing. You've got some contacts, you call them, but you need the play.
So first thing I did was speak to the lady at that point who was the chairman of the Ardens. That was Meri. So she, I went to her and said, I'm thinking of doing this show. What do you reckon? And she's like, yeah, great idea. And this is so very different now to how I do a show. Obviously now they're much more organised. But we used to do a rehearsal on the Thursday night and the show on the Friday.
Oh gosh.
Wow.
Yes. So yeah.
Well, that's confidence.
Production values have definitely changed.
Most production companies will probably do weeks and weeks and weeks of rehearsals.
What I do now. But yes, so they were very informal variety nights. The Arden used to do those sort of things anyway, like variety nights. So going back, ages, and I've turned up and gone, what are we doing? Oh, okay, great. On stage, brilliant. So I contacted everyone, got what they were going to do. Here, you've got 20 minutes, you've got 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. And you give me your songs, give me your everything. Put it all together in a running order on that Thursday night. Taped it on that Thursday night. Shows tomorrow night. Great, yeah, brilliant. and in some ways it's really nice to have like an organic kind of way that people just kind of, it's really fun and informal and people have a lot of fun doing it. I don't think I could do it like that anymore. I'm way too organised a brain now to kind of be like, no, I'd be stressing about it. But although actually there is, in July, I'll come on to that in a bit, that we are doing a very similar sort of idea. But yeah, so I very much relied on a gentleman called Guy Wade, who I'd known for a very long time. He kind of guided us through, especially sort of the technical side of it and getting that sort of things sort of set up and run. I mean, the Arden back then was a very different theatre to what it is now. It was run by completely different people. It's a big thing. So it was very, ask that person, grab that person, and you would just make a show out of who you've got and what you're doing. And again, just very chilled, very relaxed, and just, let's just go. And we're all doing it because we really have a passion. Just to, they all came together to help me because they wanted to help me and help and raise money for the
and
for
about
the
venue, how you
stuff.
find your venues.
So venues, so obviously Arden, grew up at the Arden, known it very well, member there for God knows how many years now. I think I worked out, I've been performing there for about 20 years. I think it was something, in fact, maybe more than that, I'll go literally my age now. I know I was on that stage when I was about 9 or 10. So yeah, it's like a good sort of 22 years, something like that. That tends to be what happens at the Arden. You get indoctrinated and then you stay there forever, which is a good thing, and is what I'm hoping to achieve with Wizard of Oz. Hoping to start these young minds and get them up and doing it, and being me maybe in like 20 years time. But so after COVID, I thought, well, let's change the format of Sound of Musicals a little bit. We're gonna rehearse it a lot more. We're gonna sort of not audition it. We are non-auditioned. It's, although some people do send me videos, but it's non-auditioned. We just it's people I've met through life or people who get recommended to me and stuff. So I decided to do, because the rule of 6 kept coming in and out. I said, well, that's fine. We'll do a show in October with 6 performers, and we'll do just literally the 6 of us. We can meet and rehearse because there's 6 of us. And then if the rules, at that point, I think you could have more, but I was like, no, we'll stay with 6 and we've got it. So I kind of went to 6 of the people I knew who were pretty much professional or semi-professional performers. Very lucky again that I know so many brilliant people. And so, the 6 of us did 2-nighter. So we then changed it to be 2 nights. We thought, why not? A lot of work for just one evening. So we started a 2-nighter. And again, we booked the week into the theatre, so we were able to take it, dress it, and everything as normal. So that, for me, I think is the one that I would say was the most professional, the most slick. It also got us to do the new. So if you've obviously been before, we have the chairs on stage, which is a blatant rip-off of I think it was Stephen Sondheim's 80th birthday. There's a brilliant video, or it's a concert, which has all of the Illuminati of brilliant divas on stage, and they're all watching each other's performances, and I find that really fascinating because you really are watching people's faces and it's live, and you've got that support on stage. Although at the assembly rooms we end up having to go off stage because we can't physically fit. It's really nice to have that kind of feeling, and I for that one and for some that I've done, I always kind of want them to be a bit like you're in a bar or in some sort of, I don't know why I always think of like a French cafe, with a piano or whatever, and very sort of community, like informal but formal vibe. So that's kind of where I was going with that. And a gentleman, Colin, came up and he went, well, what do you want to do then? You want to get your chairs here? And he sort of came and gave me this idea, and I went, I like that idea, yeah. And then that kind of went on, and that became the now recognised format of the Sound Musicals, is that we're all on stage together, everyone's involved, everyone can jump in on different songs that obviously organised, but we were all there to, and it's not, it got us away from the, and now Claire is singing this song from this song, and now this person singing this song, because it does work for certain things, but I think for what we were going for, and that's the idea I had with another sort of staple of what I do is the PowerPoint. because feedback I was getting was, oh, that's a great song, but I've never heard of it, I don't know what it's about, or and then it was disconnecting some of the audience, particularly sort of the older audience members, I'd say, or anyone really. And again, stealing probably ideas or borrowing ideas from things I've ever seen. I remember watching the 10th anniversary of Les Mis, and it has a very simple, because obviously it was a concert version, which is essentially what you're doing when you're doing cabarets. You can't, I can't get a barricade onto the stage in 2 minutes, and you also have to be very careful with licensing and making sure that you're not. So we can't cover Disney, for example. We can't do Greatest Showman. We can't do Grease. They're all not covered by the PRS license that most venues will have. Okay. So there's a lot of that underneath as well. People go, oh, why can't you just do this? I'm like, because I'm not allowed to. And some people do, and they get away with it. Fine by them. I'm not risking my license. I'm not risking my company. So that kind of where we went there. So the kind of the format changed, that it would be more of a kind of everyone's there, everyone's watching each other, everyone's supporting each other, and I think it just really adds something extra to the element. So that became the kind of format that we ran with, and has continued to be. I think you're doing an amazing job,
because we've been so lucky, thanks to Rebecca and knowing you.
Is it only the one you've been to?
We attended your latest one,
we did,
and I was gobsmacked. I said literally after that I can't believe
it was so moving as well.
In Faversham, in assembly rooms. It happens something from definitely things that you will see in London on the stage there. It was brilliant. All of you, and the way how you did it. And I want to tell you that some of the songs are still going on my phone, because as you said, it was really good when the songs come, because you don't know everything, of course, and especially for me, it was, some people may know much more, but how everything was put on the stage, it was brilliant.
Definitely the sort of blurbs bit have been,
and all of you are doing this. I assume like a separate thing, like we are doing the podcast. It's like your passion project. It's something on the side of your full-time job.
People say to me, so is this your job? You asked me at choir.
I did.
This is your job, right? I was like, no. This is one of 3. And people go, do you sleep? And I'm like, sort of, yes. No, I mean, everything, I think you can't do it if you're not passionate about it. When I think back to the first couple of shows that I was doing, where I was working full-time in hospitality, for 11-hour days a week that I was doing. I don't know how I was doing it. So it really came in its own when I left hospitality and went into what I call my normal 9-to-5 job that I do. So I now work in data, which suits me very well. It's the sort of job I really enjoy. I'm much happier as a person in a job that I enjoy. Is a lovely job that I can literally at the end of the day, that my job is done. I didn't have that when I worked in hospitality or even the shops or anything. I worked obviously in retail.
Because the hours are varying now as well.
The hours are varying, and you still carry that angry interaction you had with somebody for the rest of the afternoon, week, month, whatever. It's still there. And when I worked in a hotel, it was 24 hours. So, there's no stopping. You'd wake up in the morning, you'd have 15 messages from somebody who can't find the book that you put in a corner, or, so that was really unhealthy for me. I have had to try and, Naomi's very good at this, is trying to get me to turn my phone off at particular times. Because I tend to be I'm very passionate, so I like to be involved in everything. So definitely sort of the learning curve that's come over with all the different shows. I mean, I've done 11 Sound of Musicals, which is crazy to think.
Really, and always different songs as well. Do you
always different songs? I mean, you get the same. You get the, there's the traditional. You get the, I sort of have a criteria that we make sure we try and tick off. There's got to be an Andrew Lloyd Webber. There's got to be a song time. There's got to be something from Les Mis. I think there's been one show where there hasn't been something from Les Mis, maybe one.
Is that your favourite show?
It is. I do love Les Mis, but also you've kind of this is a kind of balance you've got to draw, because I come up against this sometimes with performers, because they go, well, I want to do the really modern stuff, and I'm like, I love that you want to, but you still got to keep an element of what people expect. I don't think anyone wants to sit through a whole show going, I don't know any of these songs, and I'm really bored because I don't know any of these songs. I mean, they wouldn't be bored because we're fantastic.
Yeah.
But, you kind of got to interlace it, I think, with stuff that people are going to know. The same as you don't want 15 ballads.
Yeah.
You need something a little bit exciting.
Well, I think that's the same when you go to see a band, isn't it? If you went to see a band live, and if they played all their latest album, and you hadn't heard it, and you were thinking, I wish they played that song and that song, because they're my favourites.
That's Robbie Williams said. Any concert he does, you've got to sing Angels. He said, I don't want to sing it anymore. He went, but you've got to sing it, and it is exactly that. I mean, I'm very lucky. So I have a few. I kind of now pick my casts based on what I expect, roughly what they want. I'm very different to, say, a few other companies around the area. A lot of companies would say, all right, we're going to do this show. This is your song. This is your song. This is what you're doing. And that's great. I mean, I've worked like that, and I love that, because it goes, I don't have to think about it. I can just learn this brilliant song, and it's introduced me to loads of new songs. I partner with a lovely company. We give them a little shout out, Boom Hush Productions in Sittingbourne. Brilliant company that I've done a couple of shows, 3 shows with now. And they do, you get given your script, you get given your songs, and you learn those. Whereas I'm like, okay, bring me 4 songs, each performer, bring me 4 or 5 songs, tell me what you want to sing, unless I particularly didn't think it was going to fit, or it's in the prohibited section of what I'm allowed to produce. I will say, let's work it. So I'll get everyone's songs, and then myself and Naomi, or whoever my MD at the time is, we'll put that into a running order, and that's how we go from that. Obviously, as we've got into productions and doing sort of more sort of group numbers, obviously we come up with some solos and then all the duets and trios and stuff, and it's really evolved nicely into that. So what we're going to do, so we're doing one this year. In July, we've been invited by Selling Village Hall, I think, so council, to come and do. They invited the choir along, so there might still be something with the choir there at some point. But I got talking to the lady, and I said, right, I don't think our choir's going to fit. I said, because there's 50 of us, and the hall only seats 100. I said, and therefore you can't really invite anyone else to come and watch it. So I said, I sort of a little bit of my brain went, well, ask her about Sound of Musicals. She might be interested. So I explained what I do, and she absolutely bit my hand off and said, yeah, that sounds exactly what we want. So we've got a little one
invitation.
Yeah, I will do. I mean, it's 5th of July. And again, I've got 6 or 8 around us. I can't remember now. No, yes, the 6 of us. 6 of us are doing that one. So again, I kind of, what tends to happen is I have a Facebook page with all of the performers I've ever worked with, and I go, right, here's the date. Fight amongst yourselves. Come to me and let me know who's around, who wants to do it, and they build a show based from that. So it's a much more well-oiled machine, I hope, than it used to be. Obviously, I've learned things, picked things up. It's all been a learning curve, still is. I mean,
are these shows now, when you produce them, are they still keep doing them for charity, or this is becoming a bit more like business for you?
So I left hospitality, took a job in trade. Mostly to get out of hospitality, but it was an interesting career diversion for me. Got fired from that after 3 months. My probation wasn't extended. Let's put it that way. I don't know if it was fired or let go, or, to be honest, I didn't want to work there. They didn't want me there. Prime example. Yeah. So I had 4 months off. Now, in those 4 months, me and Naomi had already been talking about starting a choir. Way back. Wow, I think when she was just getting pregnant with her second daughter, we kind of been, every time we'd spoken about it, we're like, yeah, it'd be really nice, wouldn't it, to get choir? We'd have to have a think about that. Yeah. And then I was unemployed for 4 months, so I took a bit of a bit of a gamble. I thought, right, well, why not register as self-employed for Claire Snoad Productions? So Claire Snoad Productions was born. So Claire Snoad Productions now covers, obviously now we're doing Wizard of Oz, but it covers Sound of Musicals, it covers me as a soloist, if I go out and do anything myself, I put that all under Claire Snoad Productions, so the taxman gets whatever out of that bit. So everything goes through that, so that's my sole trader entity. So that's registered, that was 2021 or 21. So that I took that and I thought that's right. So that meant that any profit that goes into the company goes straight into funding the next project. And yeah, basically like that. So and then I can donate, you know, anytime anyone who works for me, you know, they've had gifts from, because I'm really passionate about trying to pay performers. I was hoping the sort of idea that I had really was to create a company where I could hire people to come and do these shows. Finances and the world being the way it is, it hasn't quite worked out that I can pay everyone a lot of money. I'm very lucky that people want to do it for free, or they'll do it, you know, we go out for dinner or we'll go, you know, bottle of wine. It really depends on how well the show sells. So, you know, some shows have done beautifully, some less so, but luckily all been enough to tick over to bring up to the next project. So I've been very lucky that they've all kind of fed into one another. So yeah, so that's kind of how that works out on that. So yeah, so it is a company. I'm sort of semi-self-employed. It's quite exciting. And yeah, so I was unemployed, and me and Naomi had her baby at that point, still on maternity leave, Eliza, and we were like, well, why don't we just? I'll tell you what, we'll just do 4 weeks. We'll do 4 weeks. We'll hire a hall. We'll do Monday evenings. Like Monday evenings work with her schedule, and I was like, that works for me. I said that would be fine. Got in contact with St Jude's and said, well, you know, we're thinking of starting this choir, and we'd like to kind of give it a go. And would, you know, what's the max and minimum we can hire it for? You know, we don't want to overcommit. And she said, well, that's fine. Just do 4 weeks, and then we can week by week it as we go. And I was like, right, okay, well, we need about sort of 10, 15 members to make it kind of financially viable. And so we sort of started putting out feelers and taster evenings, and you know, so this is our 28th of February. We'll do a taster night and see if anyone's interested. Quite a few people came to that, which was lovely. And then we started one off. We are now 3.5 years old, and we're up to a max capacity of 55 members, which is mental and absolutely. I
is that
can
what the
say
membership
on
stands
camera,
at now?
55. I think we're 54. Yeah, 54.
Have you got a waiting list?
We have. I mean, yes, yeah. Well, it was quite strange. We sort of for ages we had no space, and very. I mean, I've got to tell a story because it's legendary, and I'm sure you've heard it now. The Cole story. So, I'm amazed I haven't managed to say something wrong here, but I tried to do a chat speech thing at one of our Christmas parties, and instead of admitting that I was going to cap the choir in the new year, I accidentally announced that we were culling the choir in the new year. Didn't realise that is what I'd said until I saw two people in the front row, I think it was Laura and Claire, go, eh? And I just panicked. I went, oh my God, what have I said? I've said the wrong thing. Oh my gosh. You know, and so it's now become a running joke within the choir. So everything, if you notice, my book's got Claire's folder may contain Cole list. And it's just kind of run. Naomi's got her own thing with a lady called Janet. She was talking about this lady called Janet for ages, and I looked at her and think, I don't think we've got a Janet. We do now have a Janet, but yeah. So there's a lot of quirks over the 3 years that we've had. Yeah, the Cole thing will never leave me. It's become a legacy. There's lots of, and I think that's what makes the choir so special. Actually,
because it's quite a ratio as well. Is it 40 women and about 10 men?
We had 3 men for ages, literally 3. It was Ian, Murray, and Bob. That was it for a long time. We couldn't get any men, and then there was just an influx of men, and now I think we're 13. I think it's something like that. So yeah, it's great actually. I think we've probably got the highest number of men in any choir around the area, because trying to get men to sing is a very hard
Have
thing
you got
to do.
just adults, or you've got kids as
We
well?
do a kids one as well, yep. So we've got Faversham Musical Theatre Choir Junior, which I'm going to get this wrong, but I think it's 10 to 17, 10 to 18. We have actually just had our first age up, which is really nice. So that's when the girls has said, oh, can I just come along to the adults? I'd rather be with the adults. And she's loving it. And I said, well, your mum's there, so that's fine. Yeah. She's not quite 17, 18 yet. But yeah, so we got the juniors. Again, we need some more juniors, really. At the moment, it's quite a sort of about 6 to 9 of them at a time. We could do with some more. It's that kind of, I suppose, that age range that can be a bit tricky to. There's lots of other things.
And do the juniors musicals as well?
Yeah, it's all musical theatre. Yeah. So everything's musical theatre. My life is musical theatre. Occasionally, I like to go out and sing a rock song at an open mic night just to change it up a little bit. So obviously, musicals. There's obviously Naomi's trained in musical theatre, got a degree in musical theatre. I've got a degree in musical theatre. Hannah, can't remember what hers is in, but she's done all of that as well. The music is so beautiful,
it musicals is beautiful, that you can't
I love the storytelling of musical theatre. I think, I've even snuck them into open mic nights and things, because it's just, there's no difference. It's as long as you can commit to that song and tell that story. That's basically what music is storytelling, and that's why I struggle sometimes with some songs, because there's nothing there, it's empty. But any of this sort of stuff, even one of my favourite songs, my dad sings it, and a friend of mine, Bill, sings it, The Gambler, and things like that, and it's got a whole story to it. You can follow it and listen to it. It's about a guy on the train, and it's I think that's what I love about it. I love the performance of musical theatre. I think you're conveying so much.
You're just becoming part of it.
You are, yeah. And I think the kind of concept of what I wanted with the Sound of Musicals was to be inclusive as well. I mean, it's. So I go back. I'm not a dancer. I now couldn't dance if I wanted to for physical reasons, but I've seen there's some fabulous shows and cabarets out there, and it's all dancing and it's all things like that. And I thought, well, yeah, but I don't really want that. I want you to be able to come and do the show, even if you have a bad back, a bad arm, a bad shoulder, whatever. It should be about the voice, and that's really what I wanted. And that's it's very different to other things, and that's what I wanted. The whole point is the sound of musicals. And people go to me, oh, can I put a dance in? I'm like, no, it's the sound of musicals.
And the sound is amazing as well, because obviously I'm in the choir, there's so many different parts. Yeah. And obviously a lot of musicals that they change as well. So the tempo changes, the harmonies change, and you get to, and it's like up and down, and then sort of like, like they're getting it almost like a ballad, and then it goes lively again. It can really change.
Sondheim, anything by Sondheim, you could be singing these different songs at the same time. Exactly. It's interesting. And I love with the choir as well. Obviously the choir has become part of Sound of Musicals. I've invited them along to do things, and that added a whole new dynamic, and it was beautiful. And I'm still very passionate. We haven't been able to do that this year, unfortunately, but hopefully in next year, because it does, and it meant that then I could have my soloists say, okay, so for example, Vicky, she did Joseph, brilliant, okay, great. So we'll then teach the choir this sort of 6-part harmony, I think it is, in Joseph, and then she can lead it. We did the same with what I did for Love from Chorus Line and things like that, and so it interweaves everything. So the Sound of Musicals is still the Sound of Musicals, and it's 6 or 8 performers, but you add the choir element to it, and it's stunning. I mean, I'm so proud of it. The 10th anniversary, I keep saying it's the 10th anniversary, 10th show we did, Celebration, last year. I wish you'd come to see that one. I wish I'd known you then, because it was amazing. I loved it.
Next one.
We hired a much bigger venue. We hired Sea Salter Christian Centre, massive place, because I was like, right, well, it's the 10th one, so I need something really exciting with this. So I ended up partnering with quite a few businesses. So we obviously had the choir came along. The junior choir were then ready and established by then, so they came along. And I partnered with Miss Sophie's Dance Academy as well.
Oh, nice.
So it's the first time I broke the rules and had dancing involved. But I was like, I want it to be, there was a couple of songs in there. We did stuff from the chorus line, Cats, and they were able, and we did this beautiful piece called Out the Ballet from a chorus line. And we actually had a ballerina, and she was doing all the beautiful, it was just stunning, absolutely so beautiful. It's that kind of adapting and changing the format each time. We try and make sure there's something different about it, whether it be the performers obviously change and rotate. Obviously, me being the only one that stays the whole time. It's my right, it's my business.
Exactly.
It's my business. I'm staying. I have toyed with the idea of not doing one, but I'm like, no, I'll have too much FOMO. I've come on a swing before just in case emergencies happen, but yeah. So the performers change. I've got different people. I've met so many different people. Mari joined the choir. Mari's now a soloist. Louisa is in the choir. She's now leading Wizard of Oz. It's I've met so many amazing people, and because we do things like the soloist shows in the choir, there's opportunities, and I've met performers like Laura Grantham. You have to poke with a stick, but she'll do it. And she did one in October a few years back, and absolutely blew me away. She's also the most incredible stage manager I've ever worked with and would ever want to work with. Although she doesn't always get on and perform with us, although she does like a cameo, she comes on and she's been absolutely, fundamental really in taking the shows actually up even further, from prop making to just everything, she's sort of like the other arm of the company. So very, very much it's been, although Naomi obviously does do the Sun musicals with me, there obviously have been times where she's not been around. So I've got to work with lots of brilliant different people, and they all bring themselves something different to it. I mean, even the assembly rooms, that was the first time we kind of had a theme running through. So the performers came on after at the end of everything.
It was
and
awesome,
was
and
Jack's
I'm not going
idea,
to talk about. Is it Toby?
Toby's insane. Yes, absolutely.
That moment, it was like, honestly, once we finish this episode, this is what, because I'm lucky I've got videos of this thing, and I'm going to go and watch them.
Online. We did it filmed and it went online.
Oh my world.
Toby's just,
He just appeared.
How he appeared.
Yes.
This was just
so
awesome.
much I want to do with that balcony. It's untrue. I was in the shower the other day. This is what happens to me. It always comes in the shower. And I was like, so I'm not. So after July, I am unfortunately. Fortunately, I'm choosing it. I'm going to take a little bit of a break. I'm moving. I'm moving out for the very first time. I've got my first flat. Very excited. And I thought,
are you still staying local? Or?
Yeah. I'm still going to be in Faversham. Obviously, I'm not moving out of my area.
Because this is your area.
This is my area. I have to start again if I move somewhere else. So now I am buying my first place. Really
this is
excited.
Great news.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I mean, didn't think it was going to happen. Even a year ago, I was going, gosh, there's no way I'm going to get anywhere, because even with a full-time job and then 2 side incomes,
we all know how difficult it is financially.
It's very scary. I mean, it got me really down last year. I really struggled for a while because I was like, I'm working really hard and getting nowhere, and it's really hard to sort of look at, especially when you're going into a bank and going, well, what can I buy? And you can buy less than you could buy 5 years ago. And I was like, what? But luckily, no, I've got, I'm doing a part rent, part buy in Faversham. Got my own little first flat. Hopefully moving in June, fingers crossed. So that's going to be really exciting. Please not Wizard of Oz week, but we know it's going to happen. I just can tell. I just know.
Tell us now a bit more about
the Wizard of Oz.
So the Wizard of Oz. So again, one of those kind of, if when you sort of half do the 5-year plan thing, I kept having this thing that in 2025 I wanted to do a musical. So I grew up doing musicals at the Arden, a company called Grassroots, run by the very legendary Bob Lacey, who was a very well-known theatre producer and director in the area. He did all these musicals, and I grew up at the Arden doing musical theatre. I did one panto, and then I went into Oliver, Annie. I know we did Aladdin, then I think we did the Disney Aladdin, and then I had a little break, and then I came back into pantos. But I remember being in these shows really, really young, and loving it, absolutely loving it. And for various reasons, there hasn't been a lot of musical theatre shows at the Arden. They do a Christmas show every year, has some music in it, but not an actual musical. So when I came out of uni, I remember saying to people, I really love to do Joseph or Annie. I think it was Annie, I said. And I couldn't get anyone behind it. There was literally nothing. And I was like, oh, okay, fine, whatever. Put that away, started doing cabarets. And so what I've been doing for the last few years is building, as we see now, it's a business. The money's been going into the pot. And I got to the point where this year I was like, okay, so I've got the money there to do the rights to something. So I'll have a little look and see and try and decide what I wanted to do. And I don't know how I thought about The Wizard of Oz. I can't remember why. I think it's just classic. I thought, you know what, Wizard of Oz, it's not a huge cast. I was like, do need children, but not too many. That should be okay. I thought, because I've never really worked with kids apart from with the choir, because of the rules, all the changes. You've got so many safeguarding things, very needed safeguarding things, but it's a minefield. But I started asking around, and so Naomi's not MDing it, but Sophie, her amazing talented sister, is. So she came on straight away and was like, I'd love to MD that. So I was like, great. So we put that together. I had a director, then that director had to step back, and then lovely Sue is my director, Sue Luckhurst. So she's now directing. It's her first directorial debut as well. So she's never actually directed, but she's been in Wizard of Oz twice, once with me. So she knows the play very, very well, the musical backwards. And she's been in so many local things. I've done stuff with her from a tot upwards. So we were like, right, okay, that's the three of us. We're a team. That's it. Producer, director, MD, lovely. So we thought, well, we'll branch it out and we'll see who's around and we'll talk about it. And I gave a hint to it at the last Sound of Musicals because I was like, can't actually announce it, but you know,
it's coming.
This is coming up. Little picture of a rainbow at the end, going, what could possibly be this thing? So yes, so I was like, well, and also because I at that point had done 11 Sound of Musicals, and I'm like, you can't keep doing the same thing over and over and over again. I mean, I'm not stopping them before anyone panics. I'm not at all.
How many's in the cast for
Wizard of Oz? We've got 14 adults and 10 children.
Okay.
Wow.
24, so actually bigger than I thought.
Yeah,
yes, absolutely. So yes, we had 10 incredible munchkins come and audition a few weeks back.
And you can get tickets?
Amazing. You can get tickets. They're on sale. The matinee is almost sold out, which is insane, given that we're 2 months ago. But yes, tickets all online on Ticket Source. So links in the bio.
Yes.
So yes, please do come and support it. It's going to be the first.
Where is going to be in Faversham?
It's at the Arden Theatre in Faversham.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Beautiful.
12th to the 14th of June.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, so we got a little bit of time there. So don't worry, there will be posters and everything all up and around everywhere. So but yeah, so first full scale musical. I mean, huge learning curve. Very, very challenging at times it's been already. Unfortunately, we've had some casting issues. We've had people join up and then not be able to do it. I'm now fully cast, so I can relax slightly. So I now have a full cast. Very amazing. It is sounding beautiful already. We've been rehearsing Tuesdays and Thursdays since the beginning of March. So we partnered. Obviously, we've got rehearsal space and everything's all sorted for that. And then so it will be on at the Arden Theatre. So
have you got sponsors or how?
No, I do need to ask. I think where I'm gonna. It's a kind of asking for help thing that I'm not that great at. But yes, we are going to need. Had a couple of meetings a few weeks back with the finance lady. Friend of mine, her husband did a little spreadsheet for me so that I could, because this is obviously I do all of my own finances for Sound of Musicals, but that's very simple. Get the venue, get the people, organise it. It takes work, but it's a well-oiled machine by now. This has been a whole learning curve for me. Down to backdrops, set hire, costumes, face painters, makeup artists, the whole
lots
thing.
Of costs, yes.
Lots of balls, lots of things.
So if you can find a local amazing
we can find
company.
a local sponsor, I'd be delighted. I am going to be doing the programme. I've spoken to a couple of companies for the programme. We did a lovely fundraising quiz a couple of weeks back. I'm going to do another sort of fundraising night as well, because everything is very reliant on I mean, the rights were £2,000, so that's before you've even started. You've got to pay that out first. Obviously, production costs at the moment are sort of £6,000 versus a 98-seater theatre. So, if I sell that all out, brilliant, but it still won't turn a profit. So that was a bit of a learning curve, a couple of weeks back. That was quite hard to kind of understand. You think, have I done this wrong? Yes, definitely things I need to take away, costing and stuff, but
definitely for the next one you will know much better. But I really hope there is time, and it's going to be great.
I'm sure someone will come along.
Local businesses will support, because what you're doing is great, and as well give the kids as well.
This is it, and anyone really. I mean, it's all about the kids, but it's everybody. I mean, that's what I've loved about anything sound musicals, anything choir based. People that just love singing and they want to come and do it. And we've been incredibly lucky with the choir that it has literally gone from strength to strength to strength, and we're really, really lucky. And as I said, we wanted 15 people. We want 55. I mean, it's
and waiting list,
and a waiting list. So it's incredible, but it's an interesting.
And even for our concept. Small town, I think it's great to know, because so as I said to you, I never had a clue, but I was so grateful to Rebecca to mentioning and to see that this will exist, because for weeks after that, I couldn't believe. That was in Faversham, where I just walk. I didn't need to get the train to obviously come back in the evening. I love, of course, the shows in London, but to see this local, so amazing. It's great. So please, if you're in the area, if you're a business, check all the details that we're going to share about Claire, and speak to her. And you never know.
Yeah, it'd be lovely. I mean, I'm not great at asking for help with money. Everything's always been very self-funded from me. But this is a massive project. We
should never be afraid to ask.
I know.
We had a guest here. You have to, what she said? Always ask.
Knock. She did a quote from the Bible. She said, "Knock and ask, and you will receive."
True,
so there you go. So she mentioned that was Mel. One of the things I want to ask you, obviously a lot of people might sing in the shower, or they think they love to sing, or they go to a karaoke and they sort of pick up a microphone. But what advice would you give to someone if they really wanted to learn to sing, and they really wanted to transform their singing voice from singing in the choir, like the odd words? So how would you get into it?
So I mean, I'm not a teacher. People ask me a lot. They go, "Do you teach anybody?" And I have none of those qualifications to teach anyone to sing. But the thing for me, you just keep doing it. It's your voice is a muscle, the obvious answer is go to NAVS, which is Naomi Ash Voice Studios. Voice Studios. Gosh, she's going to kill me. I get it wrong. Naomi Ash Voice Studios, because they have so many teachers there now. Again, that's a business that's gone strength to strength amazingly, because they can teach you the base, the kind of intricates of your voice and how your voice works. But for me, I think anyone that wants to do it, and what I'm looking for whenever I have anyone at the choir, is that passion. If you want to sing, then you'll find a way to do it. And I think it's gorgeous to me the choir is a huge example of people that have come and they've gone, "Oh no, I don't want to sing anything, and no, I'll just do this one line, and now they're leading songs. Because it's the confidence, it's doing it and doing it and doing it. I mean, I'm going to shout out here to Alison. Alison is one of my soloists. She does a lot of sound. She's done quite a few sound and musicals with me now. Petrified. She came to see sound and musicals. She loved it and was like, "I want to do that." And came to tap me on the shoulder at one of them and said, "I really want to do that. Can I do that?" And I'm thinking, "Oh dear, I'd hate it. What if she can't sing?" And because you do have to, you sort of like, and I said, "Send us a video in." That's another thing. Send us a video in, talk to us, show us what you can do. And she blew us away. She then come and did the first one in Dordington, I think it was. And I was sitting behind her and she was shaking. She was so nervous, but just clicked, and she just belted out these most incredible songs. And then invited us to do the next ones, the next ones, the next ones, the next one. She's now sort of one of the primary performers, and the same again, Vicky, everyone who's been in the shows, myself included. I was, Naomi's doing Phantom of the Opera, and I was doing Defying Gravity. There's all these different. It builds and builds. I think for me, I mean, obviously I'm not a teacher, but for me, it's that passion. If you really, really want to do it, you will find a way. You will keep going. You'll come join the choir. Because we'll teach you, even if it's a little bit a week, we'll teach you, and it's that confidence to just do it. I think the scariest thing is to get up and sing in front of your friends or somebody like that, because it can be really scary, because let's face it, they're going to be honest.
I think as soon as when you're on your own as well, it's tough, because like when you've got the choir around you, you can sing, and even if you miss the opening note, or somebody else has got it.
Somebody will catch you.
Whereas if you're on your own and you get any note wrong, and then one goes, and it's a squeak,
it's that where you go.
or you have a croaky moment in it. That's because some people you can have a croaky moment all of a sudden, and you miss a note, and then that's really.
But it's all about the recovery there, isn't it? I think Naomi did something, and we said something a few months back, that don't go, because everyone will then know you've messed up. Half the time,
people don't know.
They don't know. They don't. I mean,
all part
I've come
of my
off
arrangement.
stage going, oh damn it, I really got that wrong, and someone goes, "How was his name?" And you're like, "Oh, brilliant! Yeah, that was totally intentional. Yeah. Totally style it out. Yeah. The amount of times I've had to start things out because you've forgotten your words, you've forgotten the tune, or and you can. I mean, I've had.
But we are all human beings.
We're all human beings.
Normal.
And
what's the word that Naomi used? Blend? Is it blend?
No, let it. What is it? Let it filter.
Filter.
That's
it. Filter.
And it's now got that action. Let it filter, and it works.
Yeah.
I know. It's.
And it goes wrong. It's a filter.
It's a filter. Let it filter, because this is the thing. I've had harmony lines, and you think, "Oh, I'm never going to get that right." And you'll come back to it after a week, and you go, "Oh, okay, that kind of makes a bit. Oh, I think I've got. Yeah, I think I've got it." Because I spend a lot of my time at the back. I don't always pick up the harmonies anyway, and I'm sort of sleazing in at the back, going, "What's the line? Got it." But yeah, it takes, and I think I can now harmonise much better by being in the choir, because it's a muscle, it's a training thing. Something I said to her the other week that's really become apparent to me is I don't sing every day anymore, because I don't drive to work every day. So I'm not in the car and I'm not singing every day. And
I'm a brilliant singer in the car.
I know.
Love it.
Can't wait for you to come and do sandwiches.
I'm not brave enough.
You're not brave
During
enough.
my childhood, I was always in the choirs and all these things. But who knows?
You saw it
Maybe
here
one
first,
day.
she'll be on doing something.
Who knows?
Don't say things like to me, because I will poke people's sticks and make them do it.
You never know. I love it. It is like a passion, but confidence zero at the moment.
We'll work on that.
We'll see. Yeah.
I will. I do. I poke with sticks.
Music
you said to me, I'm going to be like
music
Rich.
is passion.
I'm soloing next year.
No.
I'll sort it out for you.
For me, music is like an escape as well. I'm finding very often there are people like, even if someone get in my car, sometimes if I start the car, you can see the volume is quite, but I love it. For me, it's a therapy. Music is always been, and it's always
absolutely. I mean, it is. It's the oldest and best version of escapism there is, isn't there? I mean, Naomi's, the amount of times I've gone to a lesson or something with Naomi, and you're singing something, and it's every emotion in the world comes out, and it's a safe space. It can be incredibly. There was a song that I absolutely adore from Finding Neverland, and it's called All That Matters, and the line in it that I love is, "The singing in my heart is all that matters," and I really connect with that song. I love singing it, and I did it a few weeks back, and I was I've had a lot going on this year with various things, and I found I listened back to it, and it almost made me cry. And I was like, how narcissistic to cry at your own voice, but it's actually the power of the performance that I was giving, actually, because the words had really hit that mark at that point. It's just got the most incredible sort of. I listened to it once in the car, and it becomes an earworm, and you sort of. So what I tend to have is I have Spotify on my phone or whatever, and I'll drive to work, and it'll just play a random musical theatre selection. And I found some of the greatest songs doing things like that, because you're like, oh, I like that one. Write that down. If I don't write it down, I'll forget. Because you're like, okay, so I'll come back to that, or I'll come back to this another time, and it's, there's so much constant new musical theatre stuff coming out that, we're never going to run out of rep. It's lovely to think, there's another good 100 Sound of Musicals, I'm sure, in there.
Perfect.
My niece is now into musical theatre as well. She's 5, and my goddaughter. And now I've got a whole little army of Munchkins as well coming up, I'm sure. So I'm not going to be out of this.
No.
We had the pleasure earlier on. Last year. Last year we had a pleasure of meeting a gentleman who's written a complete musical.
Wow.
David Chabot, yeah. So we met him.
Wow, amazing.
And he wrote a whole musical based around in Africa, wasn't it?
The White Lions.
The White Lions. Oh,
amazing.
It was amazing. Oh, it was incredible, yeah.
And he's having on Netflix. He will have a movie about his family coming soon.
Look at that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
I mean,
brilliant.
He's our episode 13.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's the luckiest number.
Have a little look. I mean,
he's
that's
brilliant.
He's an amazing singer. He's got his own album. He wrote an album, and was it Sparks?
Sparks.
Yeah. So and that was really cool.
Amazing.
So,
I've never been enough to write anything. I think I wrote a song when I was 21 that will never see the light of day. But I was never into that kind of thing. But the kind of production and the kind of that sort of thing. But I mean, there's a couple of very talented local show writers. I mean, Toby, you said about, he was in The Emperor's New Clothes, which was written by David Bedford, who's another SOMer. That's what we call them, SOMers. That's what they become, FMTCers and SOMers. Somebody looked at me the other week and was like, "What?" And I was like, "Sorry, it's our slang.
This is my.
This is how we call people, SOM." Wizard of Oz has been interesting. I was like, Wuzzers? Something like that. Wizard of Ozzers, Aussians. So they, there's a team and they've done it. They did it at the Yard, and they then took it to King's Hall, and they're now on Spotify. They've got a whole cast recording. Even so, I was a friend of mine, Stephen Kelk, again, wrote Kin in London with Emile Dale Academy. There's just so much amazing theatre out there, and it's always constantly being developed.
Which is the most amazing thing about it, because it will never die. It will just keep going on.
Musical theatre is all the thing. I don't think we need many of these new films, but I think leave them as they are. Even though I happen to be going to see 6 on Sunday, I'm very excited. To go and see that at the that's been filmed in London and being brought to around the area. It's gorgeous. 6 is fantastic.
Now, Claire, tell us how many musicals, because you almost go and see a new musical almost every week. So how many do you see in a year?
So I worked this out last year, didn't I?
I think so.
I was being confused. I think I went to about 28 last year. So, and again, that's everything. That's from that was everything. That was including comedy nights and variety nights and shows and things. And yes, so I mean, there's so much local theatre going on. I'm going to see Our House next week in Herne Bay. That's Canterbury Musical Theatre Society. I went to see Pericles last night at the Arden Theatre. Absolutely fantastic. That was a Shakespeare. So bizarre. I do not understand what actually happened, but it was a brilliant show. Production was amazing. The cast were incredible, but the whole production values of the show was insane. So that was amazing. But I just try and go and support, because people come and support me. I want to support them, and actually, there's so many shows that you wouldn't, I don't get to go to London every week. I can't afford it. I don't have the time,
but in the meantime, I'm pretty sure that in the area, there's lots
so
of great.
Much. I saw so many shows last year. I mean, I say Our House is on, then they're doing Made in Dagenham, and then there's somebody doing Beauty and the Beast is coming to Ramsgate, sort of at the end of the year.
I've seen something.
So Canterbury, there's
well.
an academy in Canterbury that are always doing things. I haven't been to any of those yet, but they're amazing. Phoenix Performing Arts in Canterbury, another stage school. They're always doing bits and pieces. They do quite a lot of the big ones because they get the teen editions, so because it's a school. But there's just so much. There's always a musical happening around this area, and I love that. I mean, it's hard because you obviously have to try and put your shows in when somebody else hasn't got one. But it's very nice that I've been able to because I've kind of met people through doing it for a few years. I've needed help with various production things, so spoken to the Yard, and they're helping with costumes. I'm speaking to another company that, Canterbury or Theatrecraft in Herne Bay and things like that, and they might, it's all a sort of...
It's all collaboration.
Yeah, it's all
isn't
collaboration.
it?
That's what
Working
it is. Yeah.
together.
So, I'm advertising in them, they're advertising in mine, in the programs, and all things like that. You've got to work together. I don't think what I love about this area, and I hope it's true, is there doesn't seem to be any rivalry. No one's going, I don't go to see them, they're rubbish. It's all about, let's support this one, let's support that one. There's always kind of things happening.
And that's what it's all about, isn't it? To try and encourage each other, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Encourage each other, build each other.
The amount of people, when I said, I'm thinking of doing a musical, what do you reckon? And I did. I spoke to Better Days Productions, which is actually an old school teacher of mine, James. I mentioned it to him, and I said, I'm thinking of doing Wizard of Oz. He was like, oh my God, that's amazing. Go and do it. And I was really supported by people, and there's not, oh, please don't start one. We've already got this, that, and the other, because there are a lot of companies around. You've got Kent Players, you've got Better Days, you've got, all these other, the Arden themselves are always doing things. But we all need to work together because, there's no skin on each other's nose if
Well, we never know. I mean, how a star will be born out of something amazing, isn't it? Really?
Exactly. I know. I might. One of these munchkins, they might be like, the next.
Exactly. Yeah. You never know.
Ruthie Henshaw. We don't know. They can be anywhere.
Oh.
I'm waiting for that day that the producer, one of the really well-known producers comes and walks in and says, "Claire, you're who we've been looking for to lead anything."
Never stop dreaming. Never stop dreaming because you never know.
Angela Weber is waiting for me, I'm sure.
Absolutely. Well, Claire, thank you so much for sharing your story. I mean, it's so amazing what you've done, what you've achieved. And again, it's a real inspiration, I think, to so many people that, it doesn't matter what we're doing. If you've got a talent in a certain space and you want to do something, you want to develop it, then you can really achieve. And congratulations and well done, Claire. It's great. Thank you for sharing. And
12th to 14th of June.
12th to 14th of June is Wizard of Oz at the Arden Theatre. Again, all tickets are online. Follow us on socials and all of that. And they're all on there. But yes, Wizard of Oz, and then 5th of July. And then I'm going to take a little break. And then I'll be back in the new year with something else exciting, I'm sure.
We look forward to it. Exciting. We'll share all the links below.
Thank you very much.
So thank you. So thank you for everyone watching us today. We hope you've really enjoyed today's episode. If you're watching us on YouTube, please do give us a like. First of all, we'd love you to subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost you anything, and it's just a little button at the bottom, so just hit that. If you're watching us or listening on Spotify, please do give us a follow. We hope you've really enjoyed today's episode, and we'll see you again very soon. Take care. All the best. Bye-bye.
Bye.